Happy New Year, everybody. I thought I'd make a video here about the books that I've read in 2023. Just going to give you a brief overview of the books that I've read, not an in-depth summary. So, Meditations by Marcus Aurelius. Really great book on how to use Stoicism in your life. Talks about life, death, his whole philosophy, and how he's used his mind to overcome challenges. Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, a really great book about how to reprogram your subconscious mind for success. Buddhism 101 by Arnie Kozak, a really great book on Buddhism. Even if you think you know everything there is to know about Buddhism, I guarantee you there's going to be something new here that you'll learn from. Budgeting 101 by Michelle Kagan. Really great book on budgeting, how to become financially independent. She gives you really good tips about how to keep track of your finances and how to get out of debt. Really great book. Curiosity by Ian Leslie. This book talks about curiosity, about how to develop it, as well as why it's important, how it links with intelligence, as well as how technology has impacted our curiosity today, and social media, how that's impacted our curiosity. And he also talks about there's different types of curiosity as well. There's different types, which is, I didn't really realize that there's actually different types of curiosity, and it's a really fascinating book. Meditations, Osho's Meditations. This is a good book on Osho's thoughts on meditations. One of the key points is he really talks about the importance of meditation, that we live in a dissociative state a lot of times, and as a result of that, we miss out on half of our lives because we're not aware of our lives. It's a really good concept. It's a really great book. I highly recommend it. All right, we got Triggers by David Richo. How to Stop Reacting and Start Healing. A really great book on triggers and how you can process your triggers so that way, you can stop reacting and start healing, as it says. It's a really great book on that. It's got great ideas from psychotherapy. Alright, so those are all the hardcover books that I have read. I read other books that were on my phone and that were at the library, and I realized that I prefer physical copy books because I can always have them and I can always pull them from my bookshelf and look at all the notes I've written in them. That's the downside of a library or a book on your phone, is that sometimes if it's out of sight, it's out of mind, but I can always look at my bookshelf and go, wow, there's the idea from that book and that book. And it's also good to write summaries of them, of course, as well. But I don't know, I just love having a physical copy of a book, but to each their own, right? So there's some other books that I read that I put in my journal here. The Boy Who Carried Bricks by Alton Carter. The Boy Who Survived by Alton Carter, Aging Out by Alton Carter, and The Boy Who Dreamed Big by Alton Carter. So pretty much all the books that Alton Carter wrote, I've read. He's actually a native of the town that I've lived in. He's from here, and he wrote a really great series about his experience with trauma with the foster homes, as well as how he overcame that, the things that he did to cope and have hope. It's a really fascinating book. So if you're somebody who's going through something like that, I highly recommend you reading it. And even if you're not somebody who's going through something like that, it can help you to understand more about the foster care systems as well as kids who go through trauma. Really great book. Let's see, another book I read, How to Teach Philosophy to Your Dog by Anthony McGowan. It's a really great book on just basically he's taking the hardest philosophical concepts and he's breaking it down so your dog could understand it. It's really great. And I read Never Finished by David Goggins. It's a really great book by David Goggins about how he's overcome challenges. Pretty similar to Alton Carter's journey a little bit, but a lot different in other ways too. He talks about his time in the Navy SEALs and talks about overcoming injuries and all that different stuff. Really great book. So those are the books that I read in 2023. Right now I'm reading a book right now. I'm almost done with it, but won't get done in time for the New Year's. But this is on Death and Dying by Elizabeth Kubler-Ross, and she talks about the 5 stages of dying, and basically about how people can understand more about the process and how to have more empathy for people who are going through that. And the 5 stages are denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance. So it's a really great book on that. And one of the key quotes in this book is that she argues that if more people spent more time contemplating their own death, their own mortality, then there'd be a lot less problems in our world today. So death avoidance is a big problem in our culture and society, and she kind of goes into that, and it goes into how how terminally ill patients have been treated in the hospitals by doctors and nurses. It kind of goes into that. They're misunderstood, and it's a challenge to work with somebody who's going through the dying process, and she breaks down how to work with them on that. So those are the books I've read in 2023. I'm going to share with you now some books briefly that I think are the greatest books that I've ever read. So, Memory Book by Henry Lorraine and Jerry Lucas. So it's a really great book on memory, how to use your memory to basically how to improve your memory. It's a really great book. The Tao of Pooh by Benjamin Hoff. Really great book on how Taoism and Pooh tying together. It's really great. The Book of Not Knowing, how to contemplate and how to gain insight into life, how to gain genuine knowledge. The Body Keeps the Score, a book about trauma as well as treatments for trauma. It's a really great book. I think this is like the Bible of trauma. I would call it the Bible of trauma. The Way of the Superior Man by David Deida. It's a book about masculine and feminine, about how to build yourself up as a man, a high value man. And it's a really great book. I find it very practical. And the last one is How to Think Like Leonardo da Vinci. It's got 7 steps for how to do that, and it's very practical and very awesome. So I hope that was very helpful for you guys. You guys have a wonderful, blessed day. You are beautiful. You are blessed. Have a happy new year. And remember, go after your goals, but don't guilt yourself and don't judge yourself for anything else. So stay blessed, stay happy. Peace out.